Hello, this is Rabbi Yorio from Power Yoga Evolution. I'd like to introduce Don Ferraro. Don is a yoga teacher here at Power Yoga Evolution. Don, tell us, how do you like our studio? What do you think?
What do I think about Power Yoga Evolution? Well, I absolutely love it. I have always loved it, and I remember the day you opened. And I think I joined here on January 2nd. You opened, I believe, January 1st, 8 years ago, and I was here January 2nd. And I remember to myself, I definitely want to go and try power yoga, and especially heated power yoga and hot power. So for me, that was challenging, being a mom of an 8-year-old at the time, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And I thought to myself, I've done yoga in the past before, but I want to see what power yoga can offer me. And I walked in here and I was hooked the very first day, the very first time. And I came into your class, and you are an amazing instructor. And you just, when you say all levels, you made it all levels, which was wonderful, because when you think of power yoga and hot power yoga, sometimes people don't fracture in the whole all levels, because they feel that some teachers, or they feel that some areas are people have progressed more. But what they don't understand, and a lot of us will say this, that for yoga is a practice, it's not a perfection. And that's very important for a lot of people to understand, and I say that in all my classes. I tell my students not to compare themselves to anybody, because you could have walked in and have been practicing for 5 minutes, and you might have someone next to you on your mat that's been practicing for 15 years.
Sure.
So never compare yourself to your neighbor. So when I came here, I thought, what can I do for myself to challenge me? Because I felt like, as a mom, a stay-home mom at the time, I wasn't really challenging myself, taking the time I needed for myself. And when you opened up, it was like a light just kind of popped open in front of me. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing. You were so close to where I lived. And I came very often. I loved coming here. It gave me the sense of my time. And I think it's important, because we do have so many groups of people in our lives that depend on us every single day. And if we don't take care of us, then we're not able to take care of the people around us. So if we can't service ourselves by coming in and giving ourselves 75 minutes, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, then how can you offer that to someone that needs that from you? So that's what Power Yoga Evolution offered me from the get-go. And I loved that so much, and I carried it with me for so long. And I remember, throughout good times and bad, coming here and just keeping my head up. And I remember Savasana was very hard for me. It was very hard for me at first, because I didn't really know what that was. And coming into a Savasana, it can be difficult for a lot of people. It can be very difficult, because your mind is going the whole entire time. And you're thinking, I have this to do and that to do, blah, blah, blah. But when you come into a Savasana, now, you come in and you just think just pure thoughts, and just go and you take that few minutes that is still involved in that class time. You're not running late, you're not going over, you're still in that class time. Take that time for you after you just did and challenged your body for that 75 minutes. Take the 5 to 7 minutes of Savasana and just enjoy that time to just connect with yourself and just understand what your body just did and how you challenged it. So that is a big part, for me, which I never really liked. And it's hard for me to say that I never really liked something, but Savasana was always hard. And for me, I think it's the most beneficial part of yoga, because, I just do. Because when you come down to that point and you think to yourself, for me, I might be going off track a little bit, but for me, when you come into my class, I want you to come in, and I would like it a non-judgmental zone. I like it to the point where people walk in and to know that they're safe, and that it is all levels welcome.
Sure.
And I will tell that to anybody who walks in the door, that when you walk in here, your mat is the safest place for you to be. Your mat's going to hold you, your mat's going to ground you. And I give them the 5 minutes or the 4 minutes to breathe and to think at the same time, because people are running from work, they're running from home, they're running from wherever, and they're whipping out their mats, they're grabbing their blocks, they're grabbing their straps, and you just want to say, just breathe. You just sit down on your mat and just breathe. And then during that time, as we're breathing, I'm also trying to connect your mind with your breath and your body. So to relax you, to come into a nice normal breath, and to set only the purest intentions for your class. And when I say purest intentions, I mean that because you shouldn't expect anything when you walk through that door. All that is expected of you is to walk through the door and put that mat out, and that's all that's expected from you for the class. Don't try to do anything that the neighbor's doing, because you have to listen to your body, because we don't know everybody's injuries and surgeries that they've had.
Totally
And
agree.
we don't know if it's okay to do a certain thing. So they know their body and they know what they can do, and I let them know that, so for me that's very important. I lead my class as if I'm, is in safety. That's my
Nice.
number one concern. You walk through that door, my hands, you're in the safety of my hands. And I do more of a vigorous type of flow, and I do that because when I had my teacher training, I was taught more of a pyramid, to start with your breathing, to start moving up into that pyramid pose to the point of fire, and then start warming your way back down to the point of Savasana. And once you stop, sometimes you lose the breath, you lose the flow, and sometimes it's hard for you to get back into the flow of yoga. So when I do that, I will offer any types of inversions. I will put us into a point where we get into an inversion, and people have been practicing for so many years, they can get into that headstand or that crow. But I will not get into that headstand or crow. I will offer alternatives for the people that are new and are all levels and don't know how to do that. I will offer something else and keep my eyes on everybody to make sure everyone's safe. People that are in their inversions are safe, because as we all know how slippery and wet it is in there during practice. So for me, that's my favorite part, coming here and just being able to let everybody know that it is all levels welcome, and we will help you in any way that you want. It's not my practice, it's their practice, it's your practice. You come in here and it's your practice. I merely give you suggestions, and you can follow them, and we can do it together. And that's, for me, I think a lot of people are intimidated with hot power yoga. And I think that once they can come in here and actually try it and just walk through that door and just rip that Band-Aid off that one time, and like I did, I fell in love with it. And I can't go to really any other classes, because I love practicing in the heat. It's so detoxifying, you know what I mean? It's so good for your mentality. It's just so good for your whole entire body. And I like to twist a lot, and I twist in my classes because there's people all day that are working in Boston or working wherever they work on the desk, or these people that are on their phones all day long. And I think twisting benefits so much. And so a lot of my classes, I do twist a lot, but I find it beneficial for the people that are in there. And I can also read my class. If it's a day that I feel that they don't want all these twists, you have to go by who you see in your class and what you think that they're ready for.
Sure.
And as I said, the teachers here are amazing. The teachers here, you especially, made me want to become a yoga instructor.
Thank you, that means a lot.
You really did. And I'll tell you that because I went through a really hard time, and I thought, how am I going to pull myself out of this hard time that I'm going through right now? And I remember driving here, and I was in the car, and I said to myself, I'm going to ask Rob as soon as I go in to give me some teacher trainers, numbers, so I can start, because I think this is where I need to be. That means a lot.
That's great.
And you did. Yeah, you said when you come out of class, I'll have some names for you. I went in, I took the class, it came out, you had names. I met where I had to go. I went through my training for almost a year, and I learned so much with that training. And I learned so much about myself and what I can do for me and what I can do for other people now. And to me, that's so important, because now my teachings and my training have brought me to such a better place in my life. Mentally, absolutely. And I have never, and my body is completely transformed from when it was 8 years ago, between the training and practicing and doing everything that I need to do. for my students in practicing at home, practicing for myself, here, coming to the studio to practice. I've noticed my whole body transition completely differently, and
Nice.
And that's,
That means a lot.
yeah, well, you know
That's
what,
great.
a lot of people, as I said, are very intimidated with hot yoga, and we can all admit that.
I've heard that so much.
It is.
How
but-
do you feel when you practice in the hot room compared by practicing at, let's say, 70 degrees?
Huge difference. Huge difference. My triceps will lock up sometimes because I don't have that heat. I can't twist as deeply as I want to if I'm not in a hot room. I just don't get those benefits. And you're detoxing no matter what. And for
Sure.
me, that's what I want to do. I want to get rid of all the toxins that are in my body and produce good ones, and that's, for me, when you don't get that benefit if you're in a 70-degree room, and as I said, it's intimidating, especially, I can say during the summertime, it's very intimidating, but you know what, it's really no difference from being outside and doing a vigorous work, like working in the garden.
Sure.
And then coming in here and
I
working
agree.
the same way. So
I agree.
you're in the 90-degree heat there, you're gonna be in the 90-degree here. But I'll tell you, it's beautiful in the wintertime to walk into a room after being out in the cold and just walking right into that room and just laying down your mat and just taking those few minutes before class for yourself and the time afterwards for yourself.
Totally.
And as I said, I wish, and I wanted to shout it from the rooftops, especially when I first started here. I just tried to tell so many people, and you know what, and I just saw this business boom, and you have done an amazing job here.
Thank you.
With getting this, place to just shine.
Thank
And
you.
I thought, this is where I want to teach. If I
Great.
get my teacher training, this is the place I want to teach, because I'm a power teacher. And I love to teach power, and I love to flow, and I love to have the safety of my students, and I love to see those faces that take the time for themselves to walk through that door every single time that they come here.
Wow.
And I tell them that, because you know what, if you don't take time for yourself, and I'll say it, and my students will know I say it at every beginning of every class and the end, if we don't take time to benefit ourselves, who are we going to be able to benefit in our lives if we don't have
So
that?
true.
And I feel with Power Yoga here, we give you that. We give you everything you need, and we're here to help you in any way. Nobody is here to do anything but help you.
Yes.
It's just, it's a good feeling to have when you walk in
I
here.
agree.
And as you said, all the instructors here are so amazing, and they're so helpful, and they have been just wonderful, and as I said, this is the place, and this is the reason when I said I want to become a yoga teacher.
That's really great.
And
Thank you
this
so
is
much.
no, it's wonderful, and it has been wonderful since, and I'm grateful to have gotten hired here, and and I love it. I love teaching here, and I love the clientele here. I see people in the stores around the area. It's just such a nice community. We have such a nice community that walks in here, and everybody knows each other.
Absolutely.
And that's the best part about it.
Absolutely.
Just being able to call someone by their first name, because you have a one-on-one relationship with them, and or just being able to talk to them when you're outside of the studio and see them and talk about them. And as I said, this place, I don't know what I would have done without it, and I honestly can say that.
Great.
It has saved a huge part of me, and I'm grateful for that. I'm
Thank
very
you so
grateful for
much.
that, and I'm grateful for you,
Thank you.
and for opening this place, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to teach here, and
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
And
That's Dawn Ferraro. Thank you so much for listening.
thank you.
Ciao.